There we go. All right, fellas, welcome to 12:30 on our Friday. What are we today? The 11th of October.
Why is it 1:30 Sydney time?
12, yeah, sorry. This is the other part, fellas. I don't know how many of you have had fuck-ups this entire week. Daylight savings has literally bent us over backwards. And it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But, yeah, certainly, no matter how much you prepare for it, it's, it's still an absolute clusterfuck every single day. But now, remind me, someone will know, when does daylight savings finish? Is it Feb?
No, it's already done. It gets started.
Yeah, when's it finish now?
Is it April? I think it's April.
April.
Oh, it's even longer. So
yeah. I think it's the first weekend in April.
Queensland do. For some reason, we're the only ones that don't do it. But fuck me.
Because it faced the curtains, brother.
I know. Bless them. Right. So,
yeah. 6th of April.
6th of April. That's right. There you go. So, fellas, today, right? I think everybody's met each other now. A few of the regulars that are coming on Friday. So we got Ads, head coach in the corner, Lukey, Mike. We got Luke Tabs, who's just taking a quick call, Marky and Gardy. And fellas, thank you very much for taking the time to spend with us for your Friday afternoon. There were a couple of you guys on last week. I think I remember. I think there was a few. Mike was there last week. Perfect. Yep. We're going to revisit supplements on another week, but I want to make sure that we kind of do this chronometer masterclass because there's a couple of my boys that unfortunately they couldn't make it. That said that it would just be effective to kind of go through some of the thought process that we as coaches have as we're starting to build your meal plans and things like that. Because a big part of this process, obviously by enrolling in Apex and learning these skills, is to essentially do that. Learn the skills of how to manage your nutrition to lose weight, build muscle, improve your energy, all that kind of stuff. Because Chronometer is the tool that the best of the best use to make sure that actually occurs for their clients. So that's why we pay for it for you guys. That's why we want you to use Chronometer. It's why it's a part of this curriculum. Chronometer is a tool for us to understand where our gaps are. So last week we went on to speak about supplements, which supplements, if you look up the word, is to supplement a gap in something. Exactly what they are. But to identify what those gaps are, we need to understand how your body is and what operates and what you need. Chronometer is the tool that we use to do that. Okay. Now I think is there anybody who hasn't used Chronometer yet? Who's been on here? Lukey, I know has. Yeah, Mike, so you haven't yet. Luke Hayes, you've started to use Chronometer?
I'm on it right now, adjusting my food that I fucked up on during the last 2 days because I had my nephew's wedding. But yeah, I've been using it now. I've tracked everything for the last few weeks. So yeah.
Well, how are you finding it, just out of curiosity, dude? Because I know you said one of the challenges was you were maybe going to struggle with a bit of the tech, but I think you pleasantly surprised yourself and everybody else.
It's pretty simple. Like obviously the only thing that I found, which was obviously getting deeper into it, was your different ratings for foods. Like if you're scanning shit, you're only getting like 7 or 8 nutrients out of that food. Yep. Whereas if you actually delve deeper and go to the base source of whatever ingredients you're using, you get the full count of nutrient listings. So instead of getting like 7 or 8, you'll get upwards of 50, 60, 70 nutrients. So, and it gives you all your macros and your micronutrients and everything as well. So that's something I learned recently.
Brodie, the way you articulated that is absolutely perfect, right? that is absolutely amazing. Well done. So that's exactly it, fellas, right? And the consensus is a big part, right? Remember this. If you're trying to lose weight, we focus on calories. If you're trying to change the way you look, we focus on macros. If you're trying to change the way that you feel, we look at micros. Okay? That's the rule. Weight, we look at calories. Composition, which is the way you look, right? How much muscle you have, how much fat you have, that's different to weight, right? Your total body mass is your weight. But how you look is where we reference and focus on macros, but the feeling, your energy, your performance, right? Your recovery. Oops, just tried to let Daniel in. I missed him. Your recovery, your libido, right? Your focus, your mental clarity, all of those things come from your nutrients, right? Your bone density, right? Just everything is from the quality that's in those foods. And that's why Chronometer is so effective. So, fellas, I'm going to share my screen. Danny, good morning. How are you? We're good. Right, so we're just going through. Have you started to use Chronometer yet, dude? Yep, perfect. Good. All right. No. Lukey, could you do me a favor? Could you just pop yourself on mute? There's just a tiny bit of either it might be wind or just a bit of back. And as soon as whenever you're talking to, just unmute yourself. That's perfect. All right, cool. So, fellas, if you've been using Chronometer, there's going to be a few things that we're going to discuss that you've probably already seen, but regardless, it's going to be important just to provide context to what it is that we're looking at. So, can everybody see my screen? Perfect. Yep. Okay, so fellas, what we look at first and foremost, and this is why it's where we start, right, is what's called the feeding frequency. Your feeding frequency is planning your meals throughout your day, and the key word being planning. So if you're taking your kids to school, you have a plan in your mind of what time you're going to get up in the morning, what time you're going to pack their lunch, how you're going to get them in the car, and then the route you're going to take to work. There's a plan. Just like you do anything else in your life, your business, your career, whatever, you need a plan. So how you eat every day needs to follow a plan for you to have the best chance of having success, right? Just shooting from the hip and eating as you're hungry is what everybody else does, which is tends to lead to overeating, undereating, emotionally eating, stress eating, right? Or not eating at all, okay? Having a plan in place means that we have parameters to operate within. And that is exactly what these are. These are what we call your diary groups, okay? And in Chronometer, that's what they refer to. Where are we here? So on your left-hand side, right? So I have obviously we at the coaching team have a master account, but I think yours is exactly the same. When you're setting up your day, you want to consider at what time you wake up, what time you go to bed, and then formulate your meals around your day. So if you go to more on the left and then go to display, you can leave everything else here. There's a lot of the settings we don't really touch, but you're going to come down to diary group names. Okay, now you can deselect however many you, and Chronometer just crashed. Don't you love that during a webinar, eh? How good is that, right? We writing them a damn email, right? Adam, write him an email. No, I'm right? So however you like to formulate your day, fellas, and your coach is going to help you with this, okay? But as you start to kind of take a little bit more of the ownership and kind of alleviate a bit more of the autonomy, it's up to you guys to kind of think about how you want to plan. Now, if you lift weights, all right, or you do any exercise, we should always try and include a pre-workout meal or a meal close to your workout. What you call them is entirely up to you. So, for example, me, I get up at 4 a.m. every single day, and I'm at the gym by 5 a.m. My first meal is at 4:30 in the morning. It's my pre-workout meal. My intra-workout is the meal that I'm having during my workout, and then my post-workout is my second meal, and then I continue my day. How you formulate your diary groups, your coach will help you with, but this is the first place to start when you're considering building your first meal plan. It's the frequency of which you're eating. If you work night shift, your first meal might not be till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You can literally go, right? This is how cool it is for you to make it your own. If your first meal, it's like 3 p.m., meal one, you can put the times in. You can get so granular on how you set this up so that it alleviates some of the stress and reduces the fuck ups. Because if you have, the more clear you are on the plan, the more clear it is to execute. Okay. Some guys like to do it this way. Some guys like to call it breakfast, lunch, snack one, dinner, right? For me personally, what I've grown to love is just this, right? It's my pre-workout, and then it's just meals. However many meals you have, you can select and deselect. You don't have to click anything else. If you just do that, so you're only having 4 meals a day, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert, for example. You just set that here, come back to diary, and that's what occurs. Okay, so I'm going to go back to mine and just set up exactly how I was. Any questions about diary groups, fellas? Does that make sense? Right, it is the first place to look. Okay, it is the first place to look, because you then you need to plan out your feedings. This is where it starts to get a little bit nuanced. Okay, so depending on what your calorie requirements are. So if you're in a calorie surplus, a calorie maintenance, or calorie deficit, depending on what your calorie target is, these are your targets here. So at the moment, my goal is to eat 315 grams of protein per day, 400 grams of carbs, and 40 grams of fat. Okay. For me to do that, I know that I need 4 meals here and then another 3. So it's 7 in total, but the intra workout is confined. So really 6 main meals. Out of that, right, this is where you can start to put your coaching hat on. This for me is around about 3,200 calories. If I go 3,200 divided by the amount of meals I'm having, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I know on average, fellas, that most of my meals in terms of calories should be around 530 calories per meal. It's never going to be perfect, but if I have one meal that's 200 and one meal that's 850, we're not getting regular, consistent feedings in. The disadvantage to having that, digestion is impacted, your energy is impacted. Have you ever eaten 1,000 calories in one sitting and tried to try and do something productive? Incredibly difficult. So regular feedings, okay, how you choose to operate it, right? Regular feedings and how the way you, because your feeding framework is your choice. But trying to get something where you're eating quite regularly through the day is very, very important. Is this making sense so far, fellas? So whatever your calorie target is, divide it by the amount of meals, and that should be your relative baseline, right? Your relative baseline on how you're trying to build your meal plan, okay? Now, one consideration. This is a little bit more high level. Well, it's not really a high level. It's just a consideration that we focus on here at Apex, and what, after years of doing this, the research has shown us to be very effective. You want to have protein as early as possible in the day. You want to have protein as frequently throughout the day as possible, okay? And you want to try and have a big chunk of your carbohydrates around your training, okay? So we'll go through those three things together, right? So the first one is we want protein as early in the day as possible. You think about it, right? Protein is the building blocks of cells. It's going to help you build muscle and burn fat. It's the number one macro that most of us are deficient in. You go to bed, say 10 o'clock at night. Your first meal might not be till 6 a.m. You have had no protein or any calories or any nutrients for 8 hours plus, right? Your body will start to catabolize, which means it's going to start to eat itself. That's why, have you ever seen intermittent fasting is a really, really effective tool, because you are starving yourself. Your body has to operate, but you're not giving it anything. So trying to get feedings as early as you can, unless you're doing some fasted cardio, and it's very nuanced, right? This isn't just general advice, but trying to have protein, right, as early in your day as you can is going to kickstart that muscle protein synthesis process. It's going to help you stay full, increase your thermic effect of feeding, which is heating your body up so you burn more calories, right? It's providing you some sufficient energy through the day. And then you're literally on your way, right, to getting through your day from your first feeding, okay? It's making sense so far, fellas? Yep. So protein in every single meal, but very important in your first meal, okay? So trying to have, for example, I'll go, one sec, Lukey, my first meal, I think I have it here from the other day. Yeah, so I was having a bit of a low carb, right? So my first meal at 4:30 in the morning has 50 grams of protein in it, 80 grams of carbs, 1 gram of fat. I'm having that at 4:30, then I'm going to train. During my workout, I'm having a coconut water, and I'm cutting at the moment, I'm doing a sharp shortcut, right, for a week where I'm on quite low calories for me. So normally I would have rice bubbles post-workout, but I'm just having a protein shake. See this, fellas? Just look at this is my meal plan just for this week. In meal 1, 50 grams of protein. Don't really need much through the workout, okay? Don't need too much through the workout, but post-workout, 26 grams of protein. That normally is a lot higher, but the reason is I have this meal quite close to it. 49 grams of protein, 67, 49, 53. Okay, so fellas, when you're starting to build, you want protein in every single meal. Okay, trying to blend that out. If I've got 300 grams, 315 grams is my target, divided by 6 meals, I should try and have 50 grams per meal. Some are going to be slightly skewed. I'm not perfect, and neither do you need to be. Okay, Lukey, question.
Oh no, sorry, that was I accidentally hit that.
You're fine, brother. You're fine. Right, fellas, are we with me so far? Am I talking too fast? Not explaining myself clearly? I get excited when I do this shit. Right, perfect. Okay, so let's go back to, we're just going to keep refining this, right? Number 1 is your diary groups. You need to have a 30,000-foot view of your day, because if you don't plan your day, right, you don't take control of your day. Your day takes control of you. Sounds a little bit, cheesy or a little bit, outlierish. It's fucking true, right? Your day will either happen to you or you will happen to your day. And in order for you to make sure that your day is in the best chance of you having control over the outcome, you need to plan. So that's why having a meal plan is effective, or having a free feeding frequency is effective. So I know, right? And I know Lukey Tav, right? Lukey Tav, every single morning, just about 7 days a week. What time is your first meal?
4:15.
Right. On the minute, just about. Right. You train from what time to what time every day?
4:45 till 6 a.m.
Right. Straight after that, when's your second feeding?
So
What time?
6:15, 6:10.
Right. Bang on the dot. Every single day without fail. Okay. Now, Luke is taking control of the first 3 hours of his day. Not anybody. No one's penetrating that. Right. Isn't penetrating a fun word? Right? No one's fucking that up. No one is taking anything from Luke for that first 3 hours of his day. You know why? Because that is fucking bulletproof. Every single day he's eating the same thing. How many meals? How many times? I know we've just changed things, Lukey, but up until the change, how often you've had the same first and second meal every day for how long?
Oh, mate, 9 months now.
Right.
The first 3 meals almost.
Now, fellas, that's not saying you have to do that. But when you find something that works, don't fuck what's not broken. Okay. And the other part is if you have a system, it becomes so easy to do other things in your day.
I'm sorry. Were you saying his first 3 meals haven't changed in the last 9 months?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So literally, and it's the same for me, right? For the last 16 weeks, except for, I'll take you back to where's one of mine? No, that was another one. Where are we here? I've changed right here, right? I had this meal, this meal, this meal, this meal, and this meal up to meal 4 every single day for 16 weeks.
Okay.
And now
at least that doesn't make me feel a bit of a weirdo, because my wife says all what I eat is chicken. So I'm not the only one.
I know that feeling.
Look,
we're all weirdos, Gardy. Don't worry about that.
It is, dude. The fun. What's that saying? It's obsessed is the word that I don't know. I can't remember the frame. It's short-sighted people call the long-sighted obsessed or something like that, right? It is an obsession, right?
Yeah, though it bloody tastes good too, so that's why I enjoy it.
I'm going. This is my favorite.
Well, weird if you like it.
I get to have rice bubbles every single morning. I'm not making that. But when you find something that works, fellas, this is a really, really important kind of consideration. Your body is a machine. It's like the most advanced AI ever, right? It just learns. It's just forever learning and adapting to whatever the fuck we're giving it. If you start running, your body starts to build stronger legs to run. If you start lifting weights, your body starts to build stronger muscles to lift weights. If you start to do fucking chess tournaments, your body starts to build neural pathways for you to develop your chess skill faster. Your body is literally just adapting to whatever you give it all the time. So in our minds, right, and the same with anything, it's a lot of this stuff's common sense, fellas, if we just think about it. If we want our body to perform consistently every day, it makes sense to keep things as consistent as possible. So trying to find, even if the only 3 things that Lukey nails every single day is those first 3 meals, right? He is in the best position possible to conquer his morning. If he has to think about his breakfast every single fucking day, that's bandwidth as he's taken away from his family, his job, his goals, everything else. He's thinking about what am I cooking? Am I cooking eggs? Am I cooking cereal? Not that you cook cereal, right? But every time you have to make that micro decision, fellas, is a chunk of bandwidth that you're allocating to your food choice every day. You're being inefficient when you do that. Okay. So if you want to get more out of your day, create less stress when it comes to trying to lose weight, improve your muscle mass, improve the way you feel, having a plan in place that is very replicable is highly, highly encouraged. Now, you don't have to eat the same fucking thing every day. You don't, because some people have families that if I gave my wife and my wife, bless her cotton socks, she is literally eating the exact same foods as me every day because I cook, right? But if your kids and your wife need something different for dinner every night, that doesn't mean that meals 1 to 5 can't be exactly the fucking same. And then just every night, meal 6 is different. You have this freedom, fellas, when you have the knowledge.
Yeah, that's what I try to do. Like, for example, I try to keep my breakfast, morning snack and lunch are exactly the same.
Mhm.
But for example, if one day we cook the spaghetti for night, like for dinner, and I don't want to have it at dinner because I maxed out my calories, I pack it for lunch the second day, and I know it's going to be an 800 calorie meal. But what I'll do is I'll either eat it over 2 meals, I'll divide it in half, or I'll skip my breakfast.
Okay. Yep. And if that works for you,
Yeah.
perfect. This is the thing, fellas. What I do, right? I'm going to show who would be comfortable sharing their chronometer, right? Lukey, right? Any I know you won't give a shit, right? Give me a sec.
I'm happy to do mine if you want.
Yeah, no, Gardy, I want to do yours as well because I want to show you, right, how effective it is to do it your way, right? I'm showing you my way, fellas. You do not have to eat 6 times a day, right? Most of you aren't eating 3,300 calories like me because I'm trying to put on a bit of weight at the moment. You know, like I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't have any dairy products. I'm slightly gluten intolerant, so I can't have much gluten at all. So rice and potato is really all I can have. Is that the right way to do things? Not for everybody, but for me, it's working. And it's taking a little bit of fucking around to find what works. Okay, so let's go over here. So Lukey Tav, right? This is what you want to see, fellas. This is why Luke. Has everybody seen? Luke. You already posted. I already showed you, didn't I? Yeah. Right. I was about to show off your beautiful 6-pack. Right. But again, it's nothing insane, fellas. All it is this. Luke is just one of the most consistent fellas that we've had in the program. Okay. And Marky Mark, right? I know you're just as good. Right. How many days have you missed?
It must be the name, mate. That's
Right. Fellas, this is what it leads to. Because look at this. We just changed. I'm just going to pick a random fucking day back in August. Look at this shit. Right. Macros are certainly different than they were then. But if you just look here, it is the same. Right. Look at his breakfast. 352.
We're a bit different.
Oh, it is a bit different.
It is a bit different now because we're doing different macro targets. Yeah, different macro targets.
Yeah, because we swapped it over. But the previous, right? Every single day is thought out, right? And trying to be as consistent as humanly possible. Because then
for me, the easiest thing is like even today, I'm already, I think, built up till next Wednesday, which is when my next meeting with Brodie is. And so all my meals are already planned out because once I've locked in the day for macros for a working day, what I'd say like non-resting day, and then a resting day because I have different macros for then, I just rinse and repeat the same thing till we meet next Wednesday. So once I've got that day planned, in the top 3 dots in the right-hand corner, I just copy today and I just paste for the next 7 days or whatever it might be.
Did you know you could do this? You can plan ahead in Chronometer.
Yeah.
You just click on a day in the future. If you know, right, Luke Hazy, what Mrs. and the kids want to go out for dinner, you know it's coming up on Saturday. So you know that this day here is not going to be to plan.
Yeah.
You can think out, right, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, every single day, right, methodically along with your coach to make sure that on the Saturday you have complete and total freedom, right? Not to hedonistically deviate, but no shame, no guilt. You've already planned for it and you know it's occurring. This little calendar here, fellas, is so helpful if you're trying to plan certain things in your day-to-day, right? Really, really is. Okay, so when Luke knows he's going to town, or Lukey Tav, right? He travels around a bit for work. When he knows he's doing that day he can build from scratch. But the other 6 days are literally the fucking same. And it works. Marky, question.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, when you go out, if you've got to go out with your family and stuff too, Luke, it's good. Like, what I do is I'll go and look up the menu before we go.
100%, mate. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So I'll go and choose my meal and then I'll work out what it is. Like, easy for me is always, which, I'll go pick a restaurant. Most restaurants these days, when you look ahead of their meal, at the very minimum, they'll have a steak and it'll tell you how heavy that steak is. Whether it's I feel at 300, I feel at 200.
What do you know?
The rib fillet's going to be fattier. So, you bang the eye fillet at 250 grams, you put that in, you already know you're probably going to get a side of greens, which will be broccoli at a minimum, and you can sort of guesstimate. And when you get there on the day, you can adjust. What I find most difficult is that if you don't leave yourself enough gap at the end of the day, so if you're not planning it out and you're just winging it, you'll get to a point, especially where you'll run out of fat macro because it's very easy for that to be consumed. And you might have your carbs left to go and you'll have 20 protein and 0 fat, and you've got fuck all to go except for egg whites and something else that's pure carb. Like makes it very difficult because you'll quickly run out of one of them.
Yeah.
That's a prime example of why it's better to get your protein as early as you can right in the day, because invariably if you're going to go out at night, these places will have more carbs and fats.
Well, yeah, well, fellas, have you
Unless you go to a keto restaurant or something like that. Sorry, bro.
No, you're
I just wanted to say that,
Always
that's
do
what
that
I
to
do to look
yourself.
forward. It was more for Luke Hayes, Lukey Tav, but yeah.
But, you know, my kids, we got a bit of a thing that we do every Friday. We go and get sushi. So at least at sushi, I can get all the raw sashimis and that, which is, you know, a lot of protein content anyway. So they just sort of skip on the rice. That's the only thing I do.
Good work,
Anzi,
man.
that resource that and I've forgotten it when my hand's on the thing. What did we call that again? Estimating.
Oh, the estimating
size.
portion sizes. Yeah.
Fellas, have you seen? You should have if you've read the ebook that I put so much fucking effort into for all of you. Right? This here, fellas.
Yeah,
This
rub it in our faces.
this is a little name drop, right? So this is a little thing that I built, right? So this is inside the training portal in phase 1 under the nutrition. So week two of phase 1, it's intro to nutrition. Fellas, when you go out, right? This is literally true, right? There's science, the research. They did 100 random restaurants in LA, and they managed to figure out exactly how much a restaurant will tend to give you in a given meal. Dependent, right? It's not. Sometimes you'll go to, like when I'm going to see Adam in a few weeks, we're going to this friggin' barbecue place. The meals are fucking this big. So it's contextual, right? But for a normal restaurant, right? Mark, you and I go out for dinner. Trav, you and I go out for dinner. We can genuinely expect, right, about 85 to 114, 120 gram portions of chicken, right? Which is the palm of a normal adult male, give or take. Now, fellas, when you're eating out, you're never going to get it perfect. You don't know what it's cooked in. You don't know what type of cut it is. You don't know anything. But this just gives you a general idea. So the thickness of this chicken is about the thickness of my palm, and it's laid out from like finger to here. Okay. So every single line here represents 25%. So if you can imagine that these are approximately, right, 114 grams over each 25%. So this is all up 114 grams. If it was here, we could estimate, right? We could estimate it'd be about 142 grams. So if you haven't, see, Adji, take care. Right, same with the carbohydrate. Normally, they'll give you about 200 grams of potato or rice or something like that. With greens, they'll normally give you some veggies, right? Normally again. But with fats, it's very hard to estimate the portion sizes due to the large calorie density. There is 9 calories per gram of fat.
Yeah.
Right? There's only 4 calories in a gram of protein. There's only 4 calories in a gram of carbs. Fats is very difficult. Has anybody ever looked up what a tablespoon of olive oil is on Chronometer?
It's 40 calories.
A tablespoon of olive oil?
Yeah, 40 calories.
No, it should be more than that. Right? Olive oil. Right? Extra virgin. 1 tablespoon is 120 calories.
Ah, shit. Okay.
13 grams. 120 calories, fellas. How many of you used to, when you're cooking, just go straight in the fucking all the time? Fellas, there's literally up to sometimes it's crazy, especially when you're frying stuff. Like if I'm cooking a chicken snitty and I'm literally cooking it in oil, I might have 500 calories of oil that I'm just consuming that I don't realize.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is why Chronometer is also effective. I know we're jumping around a little bit, but it's important. Fellas, you can use Chronometer to check anything. Have your mates ever spoken to you and gone, hey, man, fucking sweet potatoes are better than white potatoes? Right? Are they? White potato cooked. You always want to make sure that you're measuring it in the same way. Okay, so whether it's raw or cooked, it might be baked under here. So let's go white. Yeah, baked. So let's go 100 grams of that. And then right underneath it, we're going to go sweet potato baked. So if your mate ever goes, mate, these sweet potatoes, I'm losing weight on sweet potatoes. You're not, mate. They're exactly the same. There is a difference in nutrients, however. Right? So this is where the nutrient values come in. If you go potatoes white, we have nutrient scores here. Okay? 2.1 grams of fiber, few vitamins, few minerals, few amino acids. But then we go sweet potato. See these gauges, right? Boom. Sweet potato is slightly more effective, but not from a calorie perspective, from a vitamin and mineral perspective. And
We need to put Spud Light in there, mate.
right, and this is the other thing, right? But again, this is the other part. Spud Lights, as effective as they are not as nutrient dense as a normal sweet potato.
No.
Everybody heard of Spud Lights?
Yeah, I couldn't give it a
No.
go. The genetically engineered stuff freaks me out.
I do get it, but you're missing out, right? The reason being,
Yeah.
It's volume.
exactly the same amount of potato. Sweet potato, 100 grams is 90 calories. Spud Lights, exactly the same amount of potato, 49 calories. So they're just a low calorie potato. So if you're starving and you don't have a lot of carbs, you'll notice that when where a lot of you guys are calorie deficits, you can load up a little bit more on the Spud Lights than you would a normal potato.
Yeah.
They make good chips, boys. Don't worry about that. You put them in the air fryer.
Yeah, they're the tits, eh? They are, right? So, fellas, okay, Spud Lights, 200 grams. Absolutely, right? Another little one, just while we're on the sake of it. This is why Chronometer is so cool. Anybody like pumpkin?
I love pumpkin soup.
Anybody hate it?
Yep.
Oh, Luke, always one. But check this out. You're going to learn to love this, right? Guess how much, right? Nobody else answer. Luke Hayes, I've got a question for you. How many calories? So I'll give you context first, right? 100 grams of black potato is 90 calories and 20
And
grams
I
of
just
carbs.
realised the other guy, Ben, is also the lecky. So that's not too bad. That's
Two
two separate.
Hang on. There you go.
So yeah. Right, 100 grams of white potato, Luke Hayes, is 90 calories and 20 grams of carbs. What do you think 100 grams of pumpkin is in calories and carbs?
My maths isn't the best, but I'm going to take a guess and say maybe 70 cows.
All right, let's have a look. So 70 calories. We're going to go pumpkin cooked. 100 grams of pumpkin. 20 calories. Right? 20 calories and 5 grams of carbs. Fellas, you can have half a kilo. You can
Brodie, we're going to jump off, mate.
half a kilo of pumpkin. Right, who's off? You off?
Hey, Luke,
Right,
yeah.
you take care. Bud. Thank you for your input. Fellas, this is why Chronometer is also cool. Is if you're ever thinking, hey, what do I want to have this week, or what could I make for the kids that still allows me to hit my deficit and still allows me to execute on these things? Come in and just add shit, right? Just come in and fuck with it. Just see things. What's green peas versus versus cauliflower? Red meat versus white meat. It's just insane the amount of food you can eat while losing fat when you understand how food truly works. And Chronometer is really cool for that. Okay, so I know we jumped around a little bit, fellas, but first part, we want to make sure that the feeding frequency. Marky, question?
Oh, I was just going to comment too, like you talk about changing stuff. Like if you've got favourite family recipes and things like that you cook up, show them, maybe it's in the next one, Brodie, but the recipe thing is good for setting those up. And then you can sub things in and out to see what a difference it makes. It's just a really cool way to try and use some of your favorites, your family normals and things like that, but make them a bit healthier.
Yeah, this has been massive for us. So now there's specific meals that my mom and my wife would cook, and if I get in on time, I'll get to create the recipe on the spot. And then if I'm really craving that meal, I'll know that instead of me having a normal full plate, I can have 100 grams and satisfy that craving and make sure that whoever's cooked the meal is sort of, show a little bit of appreciation. So yeah.
Do you guys know how to make recipes? Right? This is a really cool thing here, fellas. Okay. Everybody has their favorite recipe. Everybody knows how to make spaghetti bolognese, but does it in a different way. You're going to come across the foods. You're going to come across the custom recipes. Okay. Now this is cool, fellas. It's in the Chronometer cheat sheet. But we're just going to go through it. Right. Give me Dan Hayden. Give me a recipe that you make, right, for you and the family or you and the kids normally. Just give me the ingredients. And we're going to call it Dan's what?
Okay, so I'll do a healthier one, not the Indian.
Just for context, I want to know. Yeah.
Not the curries. So usually do something like it'd be like broccoli or broccolini.
Yeah. So, but what's the recipe called? Like, what is it? Is it a carbonara? Is it a pizza? Is it what is it? Dan's crock pot.
Meat and veg.
Dan's meat and veg, right? And fellas, it doesn't need to be anything crazy. It's just so you know the name of it. Sorry, Michael. Question quickly. Just while we're, is it on this? Sorry, your connections. Sorry, brother, your connection's a little bit. It's just dropping in a tiny bit out. You got me?
Yeah, sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better, brother. Yep. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, but shitty. What's this with eat?
Sorry, dude, I missed that again. Can you type it in the chat, dude, and I'll answer it for you? Would that be okay?
Right.
Sorry, dude. So yeah, it's just dropping out every single time you say the exact part I need to hear. So if you can type that in. So.
Yeah, keep going.
Anybody else get that?
No.
No. Sorry, dude. So if it's just the internet, dude. If you can type it in the chat, I'll answer it for sure. So Dan's meat and veg. We've just gone to foods, custom recipes. This is a thing that Dan makes for his kids and his family. We're just going to go straight to add ingredients. Now, what's in it? And now, fellas, quickly, this is going to be the whole recipe, not just the portion Dan's going to eat. So if you make spaghetti bolognese with 500 grams of raw mince, put 500 grams of raw mince in there. So the whole recipe, Dan, what's the whole recipe?
It'd be probably like a whole, what's it called? Broccoli, like a whole stalk or whatever.
A whole thing of broccoli. Let's go. So broccoli, is it going to be a whole raw? So let's go a bunch, right? A whole bunch of broccoli. Call it. Right. This is the whole recipe. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Add that in. Next ingredient.
Cool. It's usually like it's like 3 potatoes, or this is just
white potato.
Let's just call it white. Yeah.
White potato, right? And again, if we're doing raw, we're going to go call it. And you might weigh this, right? You might weigh this for the sake of it, right? So let's say a potato is about 220 grams. Let's say it was 660 grams of raw potato, or 3 potatoes. Next, what else?
Cool. It's usually sweet corn. So it'd be.
Is it 10 or fresh?
Fresh.
Fresh. Okay, so that's going to be not KFC sweet corn.
No.
Is it going to be yellow sweet corn?
Oh yeah, yellow.
Yeah. Right. And what would that be? A large, a medium sweet corn?
It's probably medium. 2 of them.
Right, 2 of them. Perfect. Now again, you can weigh this to get it properly, right? But we're just kind of spitballing. Go again.
Cool. It'd be some kind of meat. So it'd be like pork chops or something like that. It's probably like.
So is that going to be pork? And remember, fellas, this is an American platform. So pork chops, like you'll notice that mince, they don't call it mince in the States. It's ground beef.
Yeah.
Right? They don't call it Scotch fillet. They call it top sirloin, I think, or Rumpers top sirloin. Right? Rock melon. Here's another one. If you ever eaten rock melon, they don't have fucking rock melon in the United States. It's cantaloupe.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So if there's anything that you're searching that's not coming up, just do a quick Google of the American. So pork chops. Right, we're going to go fresh. Are we pulling the fat off?
No.
So we're going to go visible fat eaten. Perfect. Right, and how many are we going to go?
It's probably about.
Was it a kilo?
Maybe a bit less. Probably about 750.
Right, 750 grams. Boom. Pop that in. Anything else? Sauces, olive oil.
Oh yeah, olive oil for sure. Oh.
How easy we did forget that, right?
Yeah, on the potatoes for sure. Yeah.
Right, so spray.
Not oil.
Right, olive oil. Right. So what are we doing? A tablespoon?
I don't know. I just go. Yeah, probably a tablespoon. Yeah.
Right. So let's go tablespoon. Anything else?
It's just spices and things like that. But yeah.
Okay. So if we don't need to track spices, fellas, unless they're like a rub. So if you ever bought like a hickory smoked barbecue rub for your brisket, that's going to have quite a bit of calories with brown sugar and a bunch of other things in it. So you do need to track those. Your salt, your pepper, your oregano, you don't need to track because they're calorieless. Calorieless? Yeah, that'll work. Right. So there's Dan's whole recipe. Okay, there's Dan's whole recipe here in its raw amounts. So if he picture this. He's grabbed all of these ingredients, thrown it into a pot, cooked it, right? Now, we just come down to the nutrition label. We're going to choose Australia. It's already populated, the whole nutrition label. If this was, I'll make it a little bit bigger. If this was a full recipe on one food label, this is what it equates to. Oh, shivers, I just tried to print, right? Here. Now, this full recipe in weight is 2.2 kilos. We're just literally, fellas, we're going to go save because that's the whole recipe. It's literally this easy. We're going to go save. Now, I'm going to go to diary. Remember, what was the name of the food? It was called Dan's Meat and Veg. If you go over to custom, these are all your custom foods and recipes. We're going to go Dan's Meat and Veg. If he was to have the whole recipe, okay, the whole recipe, it would be nearly 3,000 calories. But let's just say out of everything, right, out of everything, if he just threw it all in there, right, and it was a big pot with just pork and shit and broccoli and all that, and he just dished out 500 grams of it. Go grams, 500. And it's aggregated the entire meal as if Dan's just weighed out 500 grams of it. Did this just make sense, fellas? What we just did? You make fucking anything, right? Throw every ingredient into a recipe, custom recipes. You go to food, there's a drop down. You go here, custom recipes. We're going to do another one, right? Mark, give me a recipe. Make it quick. We're going to do this in 3 minutes. Go, name of it.
Just call it savory mince.
Boom. Fucking love savory mince. Give me a recipe. Right, let's go. Mark's savory mince. Add ingredient. This is it. Just the name of it so you can search it. New Zealand.
Beef mince, Woolies, extra lean.
So ground, we're going to go ground beef, right? 95. Is it raw or cooked?
Raw.
Right. So this is going to go raw, ground beef raw. Right. We're going to go the 5% fat, which is the extra lean mince, 500 grams. Yeah.
Yep.
So that you're just buying a Coles one. We're just not using the brand Coles because it gives us more nutrient data. Next.
Yeah, frozen veggies.
Frozen veg. See what comes up. Coles mixed frozen veg.
Yep, any one of them.
Right. Doesn't have a hell of a lot of
grams or something.
Okay. How much are we chucking in, you reckon?
Oh, I normally go half.
So 500 again?
Yep.
Boom. 500 grams of frozen veg. Next.
Put your Frank's hot sauce in, mate.
There you are. Frank's hot sauce. Let's go. I'll show you what that is, fellas, so you don't feel left out. How much sauce are we putting in?
It's a couple of tablespoons.
Right. So see, literally, right, a tablespoon is about 13 mil. So let's go 13, 26, 39. Let's go 40 mil. No calories, but it does have nutrients. So we're going to add it. Next.
I'll put some beans in, mate. Some black beans or things like that.
So black beans, you're going to go drained, I think, canned, drained, right? So drained and washed will be best people that only eat, what will be best for people like that to only eat once a day. Great question, right? Park that, Mikey. I'll come back to that. Remind me to go through that question as soon as I finish this. What a tin is about 400 grams?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, 400 grams of beans. Next, you better be
That's
quick.
it. I'd usually throw that in the slow cooker for a couple of hours, mate.
You're not putting Worcestershire sauce on your
Sorry,
sandwich.
my wife sitting next to me throws it in the slow cooker.
The wife throws it in. So you're telling so if your wife can hear me, is Mark not putting Worcestershire sauce on your savoury mince recipe?
Is Mark not putting Worcestershire sauce in your savoury mince recipe? Brodie wants to know.
Is Mark not putting?
Well, I think the bottom line is it's
Put one
her
on
recipe,
hold.
dude. I'm just stealing it, and I'm feeling
Gotcha.
like
Okay. So,
next to me. So yeah,
anytime.
you can hear everything I says and keep me honest, which you can't.
Right, that's it. Worcestershire sauce, little kid.
Oh, she reckons she just puts in what she's told, mate. Can you hear the violins here or what?
Yeah. Go ya. Right, fellas. Boom. Whatever else you got in there, save. Then literally, Mark's gonna have. He's gonna cook that whole thing up in a slow cooker. He's gonna grab a ladle and then he's gonna go Mark. And then his Mark's savory mince is going to be here. The full recipe is about 1.4 kilos in weight. We're going to go grams, and he just weighed out 500 grams of it.
Yep.
You're never going to get it perfect, but we don't need it to be. We need it to be consistent. Little rule of thumb here, fellas. We don't care about inaccuracies, but we want to be consistent in our inaccuracies. You're never going to get your food.
Get it in the ballpark. I'll throw a bowl on the scales and just fill it up, and then that's what I'll reheat. So.
Yep, exactly. So, fellas, utilize this recipe function, okay? Because it's super, super helpful if you're cooking shit for the family. Anytime I cook spaghetti bolognese, anytime I cook just about anything, right? I'm putting it in here because it's easy. And if you look, fuck me, right? I have literally that many recipes that I've made and different meals, right? Even my supplements, right? So if you eat the same supplement all the time, like the same supplement stack, you can just go sup, right? This is my morning sup stack. Okay. I'm going to have the whole supplement stack. Pop that in. That's literally just put in my, now I don't have to track every single supplement that I have. You can right click and go view, edit, selected recipe. These are the supplements I'm having every day. You can make anything to just make your life a little bit easier. Okay.
Sorry,
The other thing,
Brodie,
the other thing on that. Sorry, mate. You go.
now when you're adding pasta,
Yes.
it's easier to put it sort of dry before you cook it. Correct.
Yep. Correct.
Can you show me if we can find it dry? Because the one I looked up the pasta that I like, spaghetti number 5, but the Barilla one, the brand,
Yes.
and it just I couldn't pick if it's dry or cooked. I didn't know.
Yeah, great question, right? So here's one, fellas. For any pasta, you want to add this. This is a great one. Pasta is a unique one because every single brand is a little bit different. So when you have that Barilla pasta,
Yeah, number 5.
right? Which one is it?
No, just put Barilla spaghetti number 5. You will see it straight away.
Spaghetti. This is going to be tracked.
Number 5. Yeah, that's the
It's
one.
going to be tracked in raw weight. So when you pick up that pasta off the shelf, 100 grams is going to be 369 calories. It's tracked in dry weight.
Yeah.
Right. That's so anytime that you're using spaghetti, fellas, try and use the raw weight. I know everything we teach you is do it in cooked. The only consideration here is this spaghetti. Let's go 100 grams of that. So if you cooked up 100 grams of dry spaghetti, it'd be 300. So if you chucked in,
I understand.
What's a packet of Barilla?
It's 500 grams.
Yep, perfect. So let's make sure.
Yeah.
Let's go. Gardi spaghetti. Is it bolognese?
No, it's an aglio and olio, but it's fine.
Perfect. So I don't know how. But yeah, Gardi spaghetti.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. So it's 500 grams of the Barilla. So Barilla number 5.
Love it. Hang on. Barilla 500 grams.
500 grams. Yeah.
Perfect. Next.
And then 70 grams of olive oil.
Olive oil. Right. Extra virgin.
Yes.
Right. Grams.
100. 70. Yeah, 70.
Next.
3 cloves of garlic.
Garlic. What's that going to be? Raw. Let's go. Maybe a clove. 3 cloves. Boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just some chili. So
chili would just be a seasoning. You probably wouldn't track that. Anything else?
Yeah, don't track that. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That's it.
Okay. So we've got that here. We've got the Australian New Zealand label. We're going to go save. Then we're going to go back to our diary. We're going to go find Gardi, the name of the recipe.
Yeah.
Full recipe is.
It doesn't make sense because it's not actually 500 grams because we tracked it in dry.
Yes, correct. But it's still going to be relative, right?
Yeah,
It's
but so it
Yeah.
means I have to go back and weigh everything after I do it.
Well, it's so with this cooked one, right? So you've weighed it in cooked. Let me check something. So it's going to be 579.
So if you you go back because otherwise, like if you look up 100 grams of that would be nearly 1,000 calories. But if you go back to the same recipe.
Yep. So we're going to go recipes.
That one, yeah. So if you scroll down to the bottom, I think there is save cooked weight or something. I don't know. I do it on my phone, so I'm not sure.
Advanced serving weight based. No.
So yeah, go weight based. Click on weight based.
Weight based. Hang on.
There's a way where it asks you to set the cooked weight of the recipe. I don't know where it is.
Serving size, advanced info.
Yeah. So what I've done.
Yeah, here it is. This Gardi, right? So this little drop down here, fellas.
Yeah.
right? Advanced info, drop down, original weight. You would set the cooked recipe weight.
So what I've done is I looked up the difference between dry pasta and cooked pasta, and it's usually between 1.5 times the time or 1 to 2.
Yep.
So to be conservative, I went 1 to 5.
Perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
So it will become 750 grams plus the 70, like the 71 or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is everyone following what we're going through here? Right. I'll explain. So when we track this as a cooked, as raw weight, Brodie's made this pasta, but then once it's cooked, right, the way that we tracked the barilla is now incorrect because that's a raw weight. So what we have to do is we have to change that back to cooked weight. So all that would happen, right, and you could do it that way, Brodie, or if you wanted to, you could weigh the whole recipe cooked.
Yeah.
And then just issue it out that way. So for example, if you just chucked your pot on a set of scales, right, minus the pot, then you can just go, right, oh, this is 1.3, it's a kilo, right? And then just portion it out that way. So let's say hypothetically, I think water, it goes by kind of about 30%. So if you had 500 grams times 1.3, it might be about 650 to 750 grams.
If you work out 750, because it's actually between 750 and a kilo.
Yeah. Gotcha. So
Cooked pasta.
750 plus the 79 is going to be 829.
Yeah.
There we go.
So now when you go serving size, and if you go weight based in the serving,
I'm still going to go weight based. Sorry, pardon me. Custom recipes, we're going to go weight based.
So if you go, let's say 200 grams per serving, it makes a lot more sense calorie wise. So now,
you don't have to do that. You can literally just, if you wanted to, you could just keep it at serving.
Yeah.
And then servings is 1 serving. You go diary. We're going to go here. We're going to go Brodie spaghetti, right? And the serving is here. Okay. And you can do the whole serving, or exactly as you said, you can do a weight based, right? You can do a weight based. Fellas,
because as you can tell, it's a lot. Yeah.
Go smash your gym. Love it, bros. Thank you very much for taking the time today.
Thank you, Jim. It's all the best.
Does that make sense? What we just went through there, fellas?
Yeah.
I'll do a bit of a video around this because this is a good one to kind of pick up. I'll just make a note. There. Perfect. Okay. So, Mike, you had a question, Michael, which was someone who only eats once a day.
Yep.
Right? So, dude, it's exactly that. You're putting in exactly what you're eating once a day, okay, into Chronometer to see exactly what it is.
Okay.
So, have you been provided your meal plan?
Yes.
Yep, and it's a 1 meal, yeah?
No, it's spaced. So there's quite a few meals on there.
Oh, that's the first one. Yeah. So you want, are you planning on building the 1 meal a day? Is that what you're preferring at the moment?
No, I've only ever eaten once a day.
So in that case, you would just track the individual meal. But with this program, we want to try and get you to eat a little bit more frequently. And here's why. Your body, when you only eat once a day, your body essentially for those other 23.5 hours is starving. And so what happens when you eat that 1 meal, the moment you eat that, your body, because it's been starving for so long, stores everything because it knows it's not getting another meal for 23 hours. So if we can create regular feeding through the day, what'll happen is your body will start to expect food all the time. And so it'll be burning all the time. Every single time food comes in, your body has to heat up. It's got to digest it. It's got to use the energy. That process, if you're only eating once a day, Mike, is once a day.
Yep.
But if we can break that once a day, and everybody's different. I got guys that only eat twice a day. There's no perfect, but if we can increase and push that and kind of flirt with a few more meals per day, you'll notice you'll have more energy, right? You'll have more focus and you'll lose fat quicker because your body is starting to what's called metabolize food more regularly.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. But dude, if you're tracking 1 meal a day, you would just literally go boom and put all of your meals in for the entire, all of your foods in for the entire day, and that'd be 1 meal.
Okay. Cool.
Right.
Yep.
Any questions about anything that we've been through here, fellas? I know we jumped around a little bit. I'm going to do another. This has been really good. You've shown me a couple of things that I didn't realize, Brodie, and as well. So thank you very much for that.
Easy. I've got one question, and this is something that Lukey tried to talk about before. Is, for example, sometimes, like, and it happened with me last week, where I had to sit down with Adam and understand why am I going overboard in my fats.
Mm-hmm.
And not hitting my macro target on the proteins.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that my protein bar that I was eating had 8 grams of fat per serving, and I'm only allowed 40 grams of fat a day.
Right.
So basically, I discovered something called Energy Pro. It's a similar to like those Powerades and things like that, but it's based on protein.
Mm-hmm.
So a full drink, if you look up my chronometer, you can see it. I think I used it on Wednesday or Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's an awesome way to pick up your protein on a time where sort of your Energy Pro, last one.
Oh, what's that? Protein. Oh, it's protein water.
Yeah, it's protein water. It's 100 calories, but gives you a hit of like solid protein. There is nothing else in it.
Yep.
If you're not hitting your macros, like sort of, and this is my fault, because sometimes I lack the planning in advance. Like, I don't prepare my week in advance, like Luke was saying.
Not do you have to, but it can be effective if you're busy.
That's what I'm saying, because not hitting, like, I understand calories are the most important for me, because my main concern is to lose weight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But still, by not planning it, I'm losing a lot on the advantage of hitting those macros and things like that.
Yep. So this is great. Would you do me a favor? I haven't seen this one. Could you do a post in school over maybe the coming days with a photo of this Engro protein water? And
yeah, sure. I'm not sure if you're frozen or I'm frozen.
No, that was me. Everything reset for me. I don't know why. Sometimes you can plan your day, but the only thing you need to complete your day is protein. But it's very hard to get just straight protein. You've got to have, God, this thing's broken. Sorry, I'll stop sharing. You've got to, normally any product that has protein in it comes with a portion of fat, sometimes a portion of carbs. Most of the time it's fat, especially if you're having meat products. So to get straight protein with nothing else, normally you have to rely on protein shakes. But for some guys, right, 1 protein shake a day is enough for their digestion. But the protein water is actually really effective if you're just looking to kind of sip on protein throughout the whole day and just naturally kind of increase your protein. You can also have it once before bed. It's fantastic. But Brodie, if you could share that in the community, I think there'd be a lot of guys that would benefit from a little 20 to 25 gram hit of protein without anything else. So it's certainly effective, especially when you're trying to stay full and lose body fat, which a lot of guys are. All right, fellas, that's our time today. Was this helpful, fellas?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome.
Appreciate it, right? Appreciate it. And again, right, I head up to Bali next week for a week with my wife. So we're still going to do the normal call as per usual. I'm going to put up a poll probably on Tuesday to suggest some ideas for next week, right? So submit some questions that you want us to go through. We're going to do a bit of a Q&A next week. And so if you guys want to submit some things that you want to discuss with myself and the team, we'll make sure that we go through those on Friday. So I'll put that up. Depending on how many questions we get. Otherwise, I'll have something for us to share together, and I'll post in the community about what that is. Thank you very much, fellas, for taking the time today. I always say this is the highlight of my damn week. I don't know why we didn't do this sooner. I just love it. Fellas, with all transparency, we've been trying to build a lot of things within the business to make it to make it as valuable as we can for you guys, but to also alleviate a bit of time so that we can spend more time doing this stuff. And so we've finally gotten to a point where I've finally gotten to a point where I can do a little bit more of this. So it's beautiful to kind of be back with you guys and, kind of seeing a lot of you more regularly. So thank you very much for spending time with me. It means a lot.
No worries, man.
All right. So fellas, have a beautiful week, right? thank you very much. If you have any questions,
Thanks,
concerns, feedback, let me know. I'll post the recording up over the weekend, and have a beautiful weekend, fellas. I'll see you next
Thank
week.
you so much.
You too,
Thanks
mate.
a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Bye. Bye for now.
Bye.